Before you sign that brand deal, make sure you do not miss these hidden traps that could cost you thousands of dollars. These are 11 contract red flags that every influencer and content creator must know before they sign any contract. Red flag number 1 is a vague scope of work or deliverables. Whenever you're signing a contract, you want to make sure that your deliverables are specified. So if you've been asked to create 1 YouTube short, 1 TikTok, 1 YouTube long form video, and 1 Instagram reel, then the way I have said it should be listed in the contract. Instead of influencer is required to create content for X brand, list out your deliverables to avoid scope creep, so that you're not in a situation where you have signed it because it's not specified, they keep adding things to your pile of work and then you're not getting properly compensated for those. So look out for that. It will usually be under scope of work or deliverables, and it can be worded in different ways, but this is why you need to read through your contract very well. Things to watch out for in this section: influencer is required to create content as requested. Influencer is required to create content as needed. It will not be worded this exact way, but this just gives you an idea of what to look out for. If you see anything like this, run. Point it out and ask for it to be specified. If possible, the quantity, the format, the platform that those pieces of content will go on, which is why you need to sort out all of these things, and the contract should come last. So make sure you have had all your preliminary discussions and conversations with the brand. So how many posts am I creating? How long would each post be? Where would these things go? Do you require usage rights? All of those things. Make sure you agree on all of them. Please do not, after signing a contract, now start agreeing on other things. If not, you might have to sign an updated contract. Red flag number 2 is an unreasonable contract duration. Whenever you're signing a contract, there should be a start and an end date. And these dates should be reasonable. If you are working on a 1-year campaign for a brand, there's no reason why you're signing a 3-year contract with that brand. So please make sure that the term is reasonable enough, because once you sign a contract, you are bound by that contract till the contract expires. Let the contract duration match the work that you are actually doing. If they want to sign a contract for you longer than the work that you are doing, then you need to be paid for that. If you're working on a 2-week campaign, signing a 1-year contract does not make any sense. Of course, there will be a buffer, but let it be reasonable. So for instance, if you're working on a 2-week campaign, then maybe you can sign a 1-month contract. Under this, you also want to be careful of auto renewal clauses. All right, so sometimes contracts would say something sneaky like this contract automatically renews for an additional 3 months unless terminated. Please watch out for things like that, okay? Because that's sneaky language and that binds you without your realization and can cost you a lot of money. Red flag number 3 is unlimited usage rights. Now, you want to watch out for this, because when you sign a contract with unlimited usage rights, it means you have given power to the brand to use your content anyhow they deem fit without compensating you. Okay, so for instance, if in your conversation with the brand you have agreed on organic usage rights alone, maybe they have said, oh, we want to use your content for ads, so we don't need paid usage rights, blah blah blah, and then in the contract you're saying something like unlimited usage rights. Again, these things can be worded in different ways, but you want to read and make sure you understand. This is why you need to review. If you don't understand your contract, please have a lawyer or an attorney review it before you sign it. Do not give unlimited usage rights to a brand. You want to watch out for that. If a brand needs paid usage rights, you need to be paid for that, and it needs to be stated in the contract. And even when it is stated, it's not enough to just say paid usage rights. You need to state for how long they have that paid usage rights. You need to state the platforms where they want to use your content. I need to state the amount that you are being paid for that paid, or that you will be paid for the rights to use your content for paid advertisements. So some clauses to look out for: organic content can be repurposed for ads, or organic content can be used for other purposes. There are different ways that this can be worded, so you need to read through and understand, but please do not give any brand unlimited usage rights to your content. Red flag number 4 is a perpetuity clause. I'm going to hold your hand and say this: no brand needs your content forever, and I'm going to leave your hands. It's very simple. A very quick and probably relatable example. Christmas last year, there was a Christmas tree trend of red bowls and red and green ornaments, going back to the traditional Christmas tree. This year, the Christmas tree trend is definitely going to be different. If you had created content for a brand during Christmas last year, it would not fit into this year's content or this year's trend for Christmas. Things change, trends change, seasons change, things go in and out of style. Now, I have seen arguments from some influencers and content creators saying they don't care if a brand has perpetual usage rights or perpetual rights to their content, and you should care. Let me give you a very good example. In the US, currently, we have this DEI issue going on, and some brands, I don't want to mention the brands here, have been cancelled, and Black people have been told to stay away from certain brands because they do not support inclusiveness and diversity. Now, if before this issue you had created content for those brands and you have gone ahead to give them perpetual usage rights because I don't care what they do with my content, let me tell you what will happen. Because there's this backlash from the Black community, these brands would want to use content featuring Black creators to maybe show that they are still in sync with the Black community, and then your image and your likeness is being used with a brand that you shouldn't be associating with at that time, and that can cause serious damage for you. I'm going to bring it to Nigeria. In Nigeria, there was an investment scheme that turned out to be a scam. So imagine as a creator or an influencer, you had been paid to create content for that brand, and people have lost their investment and lost their funds, and then the brand decides to start running ads, maybe to prove that they are not a scam, prove that they are not fraudulent, and they start running ads with your content. Do you realize how damaging that is? No brand needs your content forever. If a brand thinks that they need your content, they're going to need your content for a long period of time, then let them come back to the table to renegotiate anytime the period elapses, and you can extend usage rights for them. So please watch out for perpetuity clauses. The common phrases are perpetual usage right or perpetual rights in perpetuity. Those are the common clauses that you would see when a brand or a contract is trying to sneak in perpetuity clauses for you to sign. So please, that's a red flag that you want to watch out for. Red flag number 5, strict exclusivity requirements. I think I mentioned in one of my past videos, talking about exclusivity clauses, that there are times when it will not make sense for certain creators or influencers in certain niches. A very good example, it makes no sense for a fashion creator to sign an exclusivity contract or an exclusive contract with a brand. Because you're a fashion creator, it does not make sense that all your clothes or clothing items in your wardrobe are from one brand. It is not possible. So you have no business signing an exclusive contract with a brand. Some periods make sense. A period that makes sense would be 3 days before you post our content and 3 days after you post our content, not post any content with any other clothing brand. That makes sense. Some exclusivity clauses are unreasonable and are too broad. If you're not sure what exclusivity means, it means that when you're working with one brand, you can't work with a competing brand. Red flag number 6, unfavorable payment terms. You deserve to be paid for your work. You deserve to be paid for creating the content, which is why when I talked about things to charge brands for, I listed creating content or content creation. And that is because there are literally brands out here that are saying that you will only be paid based on the performance of your content. Please, if you're having such conversations with a brand, then you need to get out of that conversation or try to turn it around. You deserve to be paid for creating the content first before any other thing. If you want to have metrics-based compensation, that's fine, but make sure that first of all, you are being paid for creating the content even before posting. So unfavorable payment terms covers being paid based on metrics alone, being paid based on performance alone, unreasonable payment periods. So the common payment periods are net 30, net 45, net 90, and I have heard of net 180 before. If you're not sure what that means, net 30 means that you'll be paid 30 days after you have sent in your invoice. Net 45 means you'll be paid 45 days after, and it follows like that. So if you have agreed to a payment term of net 180, then it means you will not be paid till 180 days after. So people have started fighting for a more balanced and a more fair payment term. So some people do a certain percentage before creating the content, that is at the contract signing stage, and then the balance will be paid after after the content has gone live. Some people are agreeing to net 15, some people are agreeing to net 30. Some brands are gracious enough to pay the entire thing even before the content has been created, and those brands are just a dream to work with. Some brands pay immediately, you present the invoice. All of these things differ, but please make sure that the payment term is reasonable and is fair. Red flag number 7 is a missing late payment clause. I've seen conversations where influencers have said brands have kicked against this. It always sounds funny to me because if you're not planning on paying late, why are you kicking against a late payment clause? So I always make sure to include a late payment clause in my contract because people can move funny. I don't even want to go into the details. So make sure you have protected yourself in your contract by including a late payment clause, whatever that looks like to you. I'm going to put common ones on the screen. Please adjust based on your situation and based on your preference and what is common in your industry or your locality. Just make sure that you have a late payment clause that protects you and prompts the brands to pay on time. Contracts need to have consequences for when brands pay late because people need to be held accountable. Red flag number 8 is either an insufficient queue fee or no queue fee at all. If you're not sure what a queue fee is, it is the money or compensation paid to an influencer or a creator by the brand for abruptly terminating a contract when work has started. And this happens more than you can imagine. It has happened to me before, right? I had already started working on a project. I did not sign any contract with this client. Clients refused to be cooperative and then suddenly realized I did not need to work anymore and I had to make a full refund to the brand. That shouldn't have happened. And that is why you need to sign a contract. And when you're signing the contract, that's why you need to make sure there is sufficient queue fee. In my contract template, I have queue fees for different levels because I need to cover myself at different stages because the contract can be terminated at different stages. 25% of the total contract value will be the key fee if termination occurs before substantial content creation has begun, meaning before the completion of the first draft. Now, if termination occurs after content creation has begun, but before final content delivery, the queue fee 50%. If termination occurs after final content delivery, but before publication, the queue fee is 75% of total contract value. It's usually best to work with percentages because the value of the contract will differ and you want to make sure that you are being properly compensated. So when you work with percentages, then it will always change based on the value of the campaign. But if you work with a fixed figure, then so imagine if your queue fee, for instance, is $2 and you're working on a $10,000 campaign that has been terminated. You're only going to get $2 out of $10,000 that, you have already started working for, but couldn't complete because the brand started to call it quits. If there is no queue fee, ask for it to be added to the contract. And if there is a queue fee in the contract, it is sufficient and you are being properly compensated in the event that the brand partner or sponsor terminates the contract when work has started. I'm not your attorney or your lawyer. I'm just sharing this based on my own experiences and conversations that I have been part of with other creators or influencers. Red flag number 9 is when a contract has no revision limit. That can be so problematic because it means that the brand can come again and again and again and again asking for revisions to the content that you have already created. I offer one complimentary round of revision, and then after that you're going to pay for any other thing that you want me to add to the content that has already been created. Because I am doing this, I also make sure that on the other side I have protected myself well enough. So before I start creating the content for a brand, I will send a concept document. I talked about this in my previous video. For video content, a concept document is a script. For photo content, a concept document is a mood board, and this would differ for the different types or formats of content that you create, but these are the main types of content that I create, and these are the concept documents that I send to brands for approval. Pro tip: when you send the concept document, please make sure it is approved by the brand before you go ahead. If not, it just makes a nonsense of that whole effort. So because I have added that to my process, and I have also offered one complimentary round of revision, if you come back, I can rightfully and confidently charge you extra because I gave you a document before I started creating the content for you to approve. approve. You approved it. I created the content, gave you 1 round of complimentary revision, and then you're coming back. You need to compensate me for it. So please make sure that you have revision limit. I once worked for a brand, and every stage of work they would give to a new person, and this new person will have things to add, and I'll have to add it. I'm sure I did up to 10 revisions on that particular project, and I was so stressed out and so drained, and honestly wished I had signed a contract with that brand. Make sure the contract is not saying that the brand can, or the influencer can offer unlimited revisions, or the influencer can offer revisions as needed, or it doesn't even say anything about revisions at all. Make sure it is properly stated in the contract. If there's no clause for revision, make sure it is added. Contract red flag number 10 is an unclear approval process. You want to make sure that there's a spelled out process on how approval works. If content needs to be approved in 3 working or business days, add it to the contract. If content has to go through different levels of approval, please, that needs to be added to the contract and properly provided for. Red flag number 11 is no reshoot protection. In this section, you want to watch out for missing clauses or languages on who bears the cost for client requested reshoot. Now, please, like I have warned before you go ahead or before you go about asking for a reshoot fee or charging a brand a reshoot fee, make sure that you have covered your bases. So if a brand is asking you to reshoot content because you have simply refused to adhere to the campaign brief, or you have gone ahead to make your own modifications without getting clearance from the brand partner or your brand partner, then I don't know what to tell you about that one. If you're not sure where to start from with contracts, I have a contract template that I use for my brand deals and brand partnerships. It's going to be linked in the description box for you to check out. As usual, I'm going to give a disclaimer. This video is not in any way legal advice. Purchasing that contract template does not make me your attorney. I'm sharing this video based on my experience and conversations with other creators and influencers. Always take counsel from your legal attorney, your legal advisor, or your lawyer. I'll see you in my next video. Till then, stay safe, stay blessed. Goodbye.